In my mind, there's one choice for roofing around here, and I'd go with your best choice. Whether it's time to replace your roof or repair it, Best Choice Roofing provides top-notch roofing services tailored to meet the unique needs of Detroit homes and businesses. They serve the region and inside the city of Detroit, too. You can find out more at bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit. That's bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit, or call 313-474-7031. That's 313-474-7031. Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It is a sunny Friday, June 27th, 2025, here in the beautiful city of Detroit. I am J.R. Stays, coming to you from our studio at Techtown, and joining me remotely, I'm going to guess, west of Woodward, none other than Man About Town, Devin O'Reilly. How are you?
I'm doing good, Jer. I am settling into the new gig. For anyone that follows, switched jobs recently, so I'm settling in nicely. It's a beautiful day here at the office. Although if you know anything about it, it's the farthest thing from an office. But it's really cool. It's really cool, and happy to be here, Jer. Happy to still talk Detroit and anywhere else around, because there's always there's always places to go, and I'm really happy that we can still continue where we've been, because that is how we started, you and I talking, and that's how we get to continue, because you know what, no matter what happens in our lives, we're still just keep going to new places.
I think that's so important, to be in touch with your community. I think that's so important. Today's episode is going to be focused on places you can go and development, a couple of places that you'll be able to go to in the future, and one that you can go to right now. The first thing I want to start out with, Devin, with where we've been, is I got a pretty extensive tour of something.
Okay, well, where did you... I always love when you get a tour, because you take lots of good pictures and you ask the good questions and you get all the important details. So where did you go?
The new Marrow space that is coming together in Eastern Market, right there by the freeway, over there by the same street that Detroit City Distillery. You've got Elephant & Co.
Okay. I was trying to picture where it is. It's on the same street as, is that Ryapel?
It's the red building that for a time was I think some sort of art studio space. Anyway, this space is truly coming together. I can tell you this is a project that with my own eyes looks to be landing on time in September. This 2-story project. It's beautiful so far, and they're not done yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you talk to, because I'm very interested, but I admittedly haven't followed this. I don't know much about it. I know Marrow as obviously a restaurant. I know that the ownership is very entrepreneurial focused. There's Marrow. There was Marrow Meats in multiple markets, including Westbourne near me. So what is the scope of what they're doing in Eastern Market?
So this project has not only a restaurant, but also a butcher shop, but also processing facilities, a USDA certified facility right in the building.
Okay, that's clutch, because I know the original Marrow had a little butcher shop and obviously a restaurant, but this, Eastern Market usually means more space, and the fact that they can have a processing facility right there, that's really cool. You probably can't get any fresher meat than going there.
Yeah, it is far larger than what they're doing in West Village currently, and it's part of supporting their growth. They've got a spot now that just opened this week in Birmingham. You saw the stuff on the shelves. Turns out selling quality Michigan-made ground beef and local ground beef has been going gangbusters for them. A higher quality product, one that's a little bit more premium on the price point, but people really enjoy it. They really enjoy what they're doing. And so they've got to support that growth. So I did this tour, and there are everything from freezers to a proper facility. You're actually going to be able to look in through through glass doors into some of the work that they're doing through the butcher shop. It's crazy. The butcher shop is coming together really nice, top notch, that you'd find in any major city. Really good looking stuff. Just a well put together space. The downstairs bar is next to it. That is coming together really well. Then you can go upstairs by elevator or stairs to a set of dining rooms. You've got another bar on the second floor, which I'll put pictures of in our Daily Detroit newsletter that I'll send out later today. And then you've got another dining space and then a private space in the back for like corporate meetings if you want to get ready for your wedding.
Everything you're telling me, I'm just like, it all sounds amazing. I guess the big question will be, can they sustain this in the Eastern Market area, which, as we know, we talk about it on multiple different projects and businesses. The hours there are tough because in one way, Eastern Market is literally a 24-hour economy, but so there's always something happening, but it's also more rare that there's a lot of people outside of, your Saturdays and your Sundays. So I just wonder, can they, you don't have to be a destination. I guess they say it like that. You've got to be a destination. You have to create some place that people are going to go out of their way to, because most people don't just happen to find themselves in Eastern Market during the week, and if you're going to be a 5-day a week, 7-day a week type of operation, you got to get creative on how you're going to get people out there. And I guess maybe Marrow's answer is they've got a little something for everyone.
The owner acknowledged that this is going to be a challenge because honestly, Eastern Market still has a lot of room to grow around its hours and everything else. And it's one of the biggest things when I talk to people visiting town. They get excited about going to Eastern Market, but sometimes they get disappointed because they're coming on a Thursday and they're thinking it's like I believe it's called Reading Terminal or Reading Market in Philadelphia or North Market in Columbus, where there's something every single day. Yes, there are businesses there, but the Eastern Market experience, if you will, is mostly on Saturday mornings. And there's a number of businesses that want to change that because honestly, just operating on Saturday is not sustainable for for a farmer or something coming in, yes, and there's a vibe to that, but you have to have more than that in order to be a sustainable, real business that actually pays people.
Exactly. So, I think they've got as good a chance as any because they've got a lot of offerings, but that means they've got a lot of space and they've got a lot of operations and they got a lot of people to pay. So we'll see if the numbers make sense. But I think that they're probably buoyed by the fact that they're doing so well in the retail space, which all signs point to that they are. And so maybe that can kind of subsidize. And we see that sometimes, Jared, with other brands where, they're doing so well in some vertical and that kind of subsidizes having a flagship or having a physical operation because it just adds to your brand. What I would love to see, I'm hoping we get some collaborations between Detroit City Distillery and Marrow. Because, I'm thinking, I know most people don't think this way, Jared. I do. How can we combine what they do and what Marrow does? I love a hearty, beefy cocktail or drink. I would love a bullshot. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think I would love to see a bullshot collaboration with Marrow beef bouillon or broth and some Detroit City Distillery vodka. And that, I think, would be really awesome.
Well, I was at an event that was for the launch the launch of what will become the brand Detroit space right behind Marrow, that they're investing in a lot of consumer packaged good companies and different things in the city. And that brand Detroit space, during that event, they had the DCD Airstream out. So I feel like everybody's talking.
Nice. Okay, good. Well, you tend to do when you're all out there working together in Eastern Market and the kind of the close confines there. So I'm hoping for it. A bullshot cocktail, for those of you who don't know, for our listeners, I've mentioned it before, but I feel the need to say it again. It was invented at the Caucus Club in the 50s, in the early 50s. So the bullshot is a Detroit original drink. I know it is for very specific palates, but it's vodka, beef broth, lemon juice, Worcestershire, maybe some hot sauce or celery. You can do it on ice, or you can just throw that thing back. It's nice. I've had them at several places, and I don't know, not for everyone, but I like it.
I feel like it's the complete reverse of the last word that was created at the DAC, the Detroit Athletic Club.
I love the diversity of cocktails that have been invented in Detroit between the last word and the Hummer and the bullshot. Very, very different types of things. I've had them all. I love to get them at different places. And maybe Jer will do a separate section on where to get the best of each of Detroit's originals.
So I'm going to open up the floor for listeners. What do you want to see more of in Eastern Market? What would get you down there more than the occasional Saturday or more than Saturdays? dailydetroit@gmail.com or 313-789-3211. Leave a voicemail or dailydetroit@gmail.com. Let me know. Or if you're a member on Patreon, patreon.com/dailydetroit, you can join us on our Discord and we can chat about it in the Discord under the Show Talk channel. Devin O'Reilly, where have you been?
Yes, Jer. Well, I continue my quest to find new places somewhat around. I think, I've said this last time, but if people who weren't listening last time, because I went from working in Detroit to working in Dearborn, I live in Dearborn, but at the same time, I was never in Dearborn during the day. So my kind of coffee and lunch spots have had to really kind of get reimagined and, I got to find new places. I got to find my new go-tos. And last week we talked about me finding the canteen at Midtown for a lunch spot. This week I wanted to talk about a place I tried for my daily, not a daily coffee fix. I need about 2 to 3 cups a day. So I got to subsidize somewhere. And I'm looking for new places to get coffee in my area. And I found this lovely place called Detroit Perk Coffee House. Now, Detroit Perk is located technically in Dearborn Heights. But it's really cool. It's in kind of a new plaza. I think, Jerry, you might have talked about it with other people. This is an east side, west side thing. Ford Road is essentially the M59 of the west side, right?
Also, you on the west side always name things with the streets. What is it, like Ford Tel or something?
Yes.
Like your intersections are all abbreviated parts of your roads. It's really weird to me as an east sider. I apologize. I'll go with it. I'll rock with it, but I'm an east sider. Listen, I want my 8 Mile road incorrectly labeled 8 Mile, and you will know what I mean if you look at a map, because 8 Mile turns into Vernier and splits off. Listen, on the east side, we just incorrectly label our roads.
Yeah, that's a quirk of you guys, but we just try and keep it very simple. Where is the Ford Tel Plaza? It's on Ford and Telegraph, and there's a movie theater there, and we got Ford Tel. So anyway, this is actually right by there. So Detroit Perk is on Ford Road. As I said, Ford Road is really getting built up right now. If you haven't driven down there, basically the corridor between Dearborn and then going out to Canton is just build up. Everything from big box stores to new little shops and stores. It's really getting built up, as I said, much like M59, on the east side. So it's hard to almost find a place, but I happened to drive by and I made a note of it. And so this place is kind of hard to find. So I want to kind of call out the address. It's 22722 Ford Road. It's just west of Outer Drive, and then before Telegraph Road. So it's hard to miss. So I want to make sure I call it the or easy to miss. So I want to make sure I call it the location. So just west of Outer Drive and just east of Ford Road. So between the two. It's a really cool place. They do a great job of, Detroit Perk. I don't know if it harkens to like Central Perk from Friends. I'm not sure, but they're definitely creating like one of those third spaces, which I love. I just kind of grabbed a cold brew to go the first time, and then I went back. And, you could just sit around there. They have comfortable, soft furniture, music. There's books there. They kind of create a space of like little gathering spots. They do a really good job of, for what it is. It's kind of in a plaza. It's your kind of traditional kind of a shotgun style business, but the way it's set up, they really make it welcoming, kind of cozy. So the second time I went back, I decided to get a little bit more adventurous. And I got the Sicilian pistachio latte, which was really, really good. Because I don't know about you, if I've mentioned this, Jared, but I'm a big pistachio fan.
What makes it Sicilian?
Well, I think maybe the fact that it's a pistachio latte. I don't know, because it's fairly straightforward. You've got espresso, little pistachio syrup, which I had them go light on, then pistachio cream cold foam, which is very nice, and then a pistachio crushed pistachio for a garnish. But it was nice. It was really good. They've got all sorts of lattes, everything from like a cinnamon flavor to more of like a rosé flavor to kind of a strawberry fruity flavor. You can get them hot, cold. They kind of have all of your, all of your go-tos for a coffee shop, and they've got some fresh baked goods too. So I was really happily surprised by Detroit Perk. It's unassuming from the outside, but if you're on Ford Road, which a lot of people are these days, especially the West Siders, because you got to be on Ford Road to get to and fro, stop by here. It's really cool, and I think their hours are it's basically 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So, we talk about having good, consistent hours. Seems like they got them. You can stop there before work, after work, or for lunch.
Well, that's one thing, too. Those later hours are pretty clutch. There are Not as many shops that go as late, but one of the nice things about the West Side, especially Dearborn and Dearborn Heights, you all have a bevy of places that you can show up late and get your caffeine fix if that's what you want.
Yeah, and it's part, I think it's part cultural and then part density. Like we talk about, like when you have the density of a Dearborn or that area, it's easy to open up a place and keep it open late because you have such high traffic from the neighborhoods, from people going to and from work, and there's so many tens of thousands of people who live within a couple mile radius. So the density I think helps, and then culturally, we talked about, it's just one of those things. I'm not a late coffee drinker, but many people in that area kind of like to just hang out, study, chat, and drink coffee into the night, which would really mess up my sleep schedule. But hey, it's not for me. It's okay.
I will say a pro tip is to make sure to not discount a place that's in a strip mall, because there are so many places that are a surprise, a joy, and you're like, what on earth when you're outside? And then you get in. I think about Christine's Cuisine, which is amazing up in Ferndale. I think about Kikoa Brewing Company or Kikoa Coffee Company near downtown or in downtown Wyandotte. That's another one. That you're like, oh, this is a strip mall development. And then you get in there and it's like, dang, they did a really nice job. That also reminds me that I have learned that there is going to be a replacement, shifting gears. I don't mean to interrupt you, but shifting gears, there's going to be a replacement for Alto Cafe over in Brush Park, over on Woodward.
Oh, okay.
James
what do we
Oliver.
got going in there? Oh, that James Oliver franchise. They're good. Hey, I have nothing bad to say about James Oliver. They do great bagels, great coffee. Love them in Corktown. That's the one I go to the most. But yeah, that's good. They seem to be expanding pretty rapidly.
Yeah, I don't know if they're franchise or if they're all owned, but then the reason I thought of that on the fly was they have just opened their spot like weeks ago in downtown Wyandotte. So if you're in Wyandotte, you have so many good coffee options now. Let's take the focus back downtown a little bit. We now have word on what's going to be the fate of the facade of the former National Theater. People have been seeing it on Monroe Street for decades. It even survived a really ugly parking garage being near it. It was salvaged in recent years by Bedrock to be used somewhere else. There was a thought that it was going to be used as maybe an arch or the front of a development or the front of a performance hall. But now we know what's going to happen is that there will be a market hall constructed right there on Cadillac Square, right next to Campus Martius, next to what's going up as Cosm, that big entertainment experience we mentioned. It's going to be called the Cadillac Exchange. So, right now there's a lot of food trucks and things in Cadillac Square. Now there will be soon a food market hall. I think there'll be a variety of vendors, but I think it's going to help serve that office market. Return to work is really mandated with some of those companies down there. They really want to have those amenities. The city really prefers more permanent stands, even if they're small, over a food truck. So this is going to look pretty darn cool. I think it's actually a really good use of this to make this the entrance of a food hall. I think this will be a great visual presentation. This is, to me, a good use and good reuse. And as much as I would have loved to see the National Theater get restored, that thing was just, over the years, just left to rot and shot. And the only thing they were able to save was this beautiful terracotta facade. So I'm glad that it's getting new life, Devin.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is one of those situations. You weren't going to make everyone happy with this because there were so many people who wanted the full preservation of the theater. And I think that, Bedrock tried to do what they could. Just the scope and the plan just didn't call for any way that you could save that entire theater. But saving that beautiful facade, which is really the selling point of the theater. I mean, after that, it's kind of, a brick building from the outside, just a kind of rectangle brick building. So being able to save the facade, which is gorgeous. I used to see it all the time, and kind of making that the entrance to this kind of food hall, which I think is a fantastic idea to offer that as kind of a more permanent food destination downtown, I think is great. Because when downtown is bustling, which it is more and more, especially on weekends and nice evenings, people are still looking for food destinations. They're still, if you're in Campus Martius, there are certain places you can go. A lot of them are more high end. And so maybe to have more casual options on a consistent basis for food when you're walking around or hanging out downtown, I think is a great idea. And this is a great way to kind of preserve that history. It'll go nice with the Cosm, which will certainly draw plenty of people downtown. So I think, Monroe, whatever we're calling this now, Monroe Blocks area is starting to kind of start to show some life, show some strategy. You can kind of see what the plan is here. And so far, so good.
The question I'm going to pose to you, and this is from a number of listeners, they're a little skeptical that a food hall can work downtown because they saw what was put into that space underneath what is now the former Free Press and News offices right next to the court building just a couple of blocks away from Campus Martius. And they've seen some other things happen. And they're like, how can a food hall work downtown when these other concepts died? And I'm going to say, my thought is location, but what do you think?
Yeah, it's location. Seriously, there's nothing else to it. I mean, that's just how everything works in downtown. There are certain areas right now, the financial district being kind of the main one that you think about, where it's really hard to attract any kind of density because you don't have any consistent businesses there. People don't walk over there unless there's something to walk over to go see. Businesses have had a really hard time in that area. Campus Martius is the absolute center, the heart of kind of downtown's activity. It is a hive of activity almost all the time. I mean, there's not a time when there's not people kind of milling around Campus Martius, walking through, even on weekdays. So it's one of those things where Bedrock is using their advantages in terms of being able to select the best location to put this food hall. And so I think location is going to certainly save it. And then also you have the fact of people going back to work, and more and more people at Rocket and at even General Motors when their headquarters opens up. You're going to have more density of people going back to work, so you'll probably do a pretty good lunch crowd as well.
All right, well, we are done with your Daily Detroit for today in the week. Thank you so much for listening to our show. I really appreciate you, as well as thank you to our members on Patreon, patreon.com/dailydetroit, who are keeping this going. You are absolutely awesome. With that, I'm Jer Stays.
I'm Devin O'Reilly.
Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.